I'm not a screamer. You're not a screamer.
Babe,
Okay. Anyways,
you're a screamer. Let's go. Let's continue. Let's continue. Go.
Edit that out, Ray.
Poor Ray. Poor Ray.
Seriously. Hello, and welcome to the How Married Are You podcast. I am Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Beleaf Mel.
And we are talking about parental PDAs in front of your children today. I really just want to be able to look at you.
I know it's kind of awkward because we're talking in these different directions, kind of. But what if we just looked here? Hi. Why do you want to do a podcast?
Because I like talking to you, and it just means I get to spend time with you.
Okay. This was your idea, though, right?
Why did you say K?
I just thought it was going to be a little bit more to your answer.
Oh. Well, I mean, originally I wanted to do a podcast that encouraged women. But then the idea of doing it with you just was a lot more fun.
I totally agree. All right, so we're doing this podcast kind of like just as a way to kind of spend time together. And there are actually a lot of reasons why I feel like we just need to talk out some of our issues with parenting in life, not so much with each other.
Not that we don't have issues with each other.
We have issues for sure, but I mean, I feel like we can talk about that stuff here, but that's not why we're starting to like talk about our own issues. We just need kind of like a safe place to be us, and we want to add another element to the Beleaf and Fatherhood experience, right? And what I learned going to Gary V's VoiceCon and all that, like, is that I need to be a little bit more focused on the voice aspect. Yeah, and so sorry. And so, babe, you have a topic that we are going to discuss.
Okay. So, we recently had... Can I, like, move it over so I can look at you and talk? Can we do, like... Is this going to work? If it's, like, sideways? There we go.
All right, babe. Yeah, we have to continue because, remember, this is just... People are just listening.
Okay, so basically recently we had an incident with our oldest.
Yes.
Are we going to start there?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we recently had an incident with our oldest where he was at a friend's house and they were playing husband and wife, and
the friend was a girl, boy.
The friend was a female, and Ryabo was there as well, and Ryabo was the son, and the girl was the wife and Theo was the husband. And basically, husband and wife got intimate and kissed each other on the lips.
Yeah, and they were like under the covers too.
Yeah, and so I was just like, man, I don't know where he gets that, they got that from. Like, where did that come from? And the only thing I could think of is that they see their parents as husband and wife being affectionate with one another, and they think, oh, we need to, like, duplicate this experience. And so I began to wonder, because they don't watch anything like that on television. So my thing is, like, are we being too affectionate in front of our children? So that was my question, basically. Like, because I think we have determined in our minds that we're going to be intentional about our kids seeing each other. Ugh.
Yeah, you got to speak right into the mic. You can't.
Okay, got it. We are going to be intentional about our children seeing us be affectionate to one another. And so my question, I guess, is like, or the topic of discussion is there a scale on which that's too far or too little? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you were on Instagram and you did a poll.
Yes, on Instagram, I asked several questions. Let me pull it up really quick. And the first question I asked was, were your parents affectionate with each other in front of you growing up? And the overwhelming response was no. 63% of the people polled said no. 37% said yes.
I feel that's a little sad.
And what's 473 plus 800? That's 1,260.
You're the math.
Or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, so that's out of 1,200 people.
So that's like over 1,200 people that were polled.
Okay.
And so I feel like that's a lot of people to say no.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not talking to my.
You are. I just want people to be able to see your face too, who are watching on Patreon or whatever.
Hello.
All right.
And so I was like, okay, so that's interesting to know. And then my next question was on, I had like a scale, and the scale said, okay, so how affectionate were they? Did they just hug and kiss in front of you? Or did they maybe have an occasional grabbing of the rear end in front of you? Or were your parents the type of parents that would be like, okay, there's a sock on the door, you know what that means type of parents? Because I know some
Which
kids.
means they're having sex.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Everybody knows.
But everybody doesn't know. Because I'm like, what's a sock on the door mean? That can mean anything. That can mean, you know what I'm saying? Like stages up to having sex. You know what I mean? But anyway, go ahead. I just think we need to be very clear here.
That's true. Let's just lay it all out on the table.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So basically, did they tell you they're about to have sex? Leave us alone, type thing. And actually, most of the people who answered that question said it was somewhere between a hug and a kiss, and maybe an occasional grabbing of the rear end.
How many people you think?
And it's weird because this one, 482 people answered this one.
So about the same amount who said yes.
Yes, because it was only a question for the ones that said yes. Okay. Oh, actually, wow. You're right. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's the same. Okay. The next question I asked was, to those of you whose parents weren't necessarily affectionate in front of you, do you wish they were? And so of those people that answered, they said yes. 65% of them said yes, they wish they were. And then the last question was, parents out there, are you intentional about letting your kids see you be affectionate with your spouse? And 77% of the parents said yes. Definitely. I said definitely or no.
How many people was that?
And that one actually was less people that voted. That one was about 500 people that voted. So maybe they're just not, I don't know.
Yeah, so for me, I understand, like, the reason. You can put your phone here, babe.
Sorry.
I understand the reasons for, like, being hesitant. You're just...
I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Look at this.
I know, there's a lot.
Here.
This is why we need the whole situation.
We do.
Yeah. So if you're seeing this, if you're watching this on, you heard your gulp. Goodness. So you got the good mic. You probably be better off with this mic, honestly, because it just sits here, and that one's a little bit more. So if you're watching this, this is like our first podcast, so we got wires everywhere. Yvette's drinking coffee. Like, it's a lot going on. So that's what you're hearing. If Ray didn't edit this out, because he's going to edit this.
Ray?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he mixes, so he's going to mix it and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway,
nice.
I think I'm a little kind of concerned. So I don't know how I'm supposed to be as a father showing you affection in front of our children. Whenever we get up, like when we used to give hugs when Theo was really small, he just wedged himself in between us and was like, no. And basically he wanted me. He wanted me to hold him and hug him and kiss him. Like, that's what he wanted. And you can see the same thing happening to Anaya. Mm-hmm. She's just trying to wedge herself in between.
But she wants me.
Yeah, but she wants you. And Uriah was very indifferent. But sometimes when we just hug, Uriah go, hey, look, they're hugging. Hey, look, they're hugging and kissing each other.
Yep.
And you're like, and you hear them, and it's funny. But I'm wondering, like, how much of that is he picking up and then taking on the road, you know, when he goes to his friend's house? Or is he applying it? Is he applying it alone when he's playing with his toys and stuff like that?
I've seen that.
And so I guess part of me, like, really is curious about what we are to do.
Yeah, I'm freaking out. I'm like, we need to shut it all down.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't think we need to. I mean, you know, it's always about training. You know what I'm saying? So it's about telling them why we do what we do and not so much just letting them watch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the reason why Mommy and I hug and kiss is because we are husband and wife and we're married.
But I think they understand that.
Yeah, they do. And that's the thing. And so, like, my response to Theo when he engaged with the young person or whatever was like, yo, hey, man, that you cannot do that. You know, you can't touch them. You can't kiss them in that way. It's not appropriate. And mommies and daddies do that. And it wasn't so much a scolding, like that wasn't my tone, but I didn't really know how to explain that to him and say why. You know, like, just because you see, like, adults can do it, you know, but you can't. And it just felt so rules-based, but not like heart-based or fact-based. And I was, like, having a really hard time, you know, even knowing that I was doing the right thing. It's check, 1 2 1 2. All right. So where were we at? Yeah, I feel like it's more rules based and more like based on what I had to say was right and wrong instead of heart based, and instead of like, you know, this is why it's important to have boundaries. Dang, that don't even sound right for a 5-year-old. What's the right way? What should I have done? You don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable with things like this. I wasn't thinking about kissing nobody at his age or anybody's age.
I was very much curious and like very curious and like very much like Theo as a kid. And I don't know what anybody could have told me to get me to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
The thing about Theo, I don't even know if it's, he's kind of sneaky.
Yeah.
And he knows how to manipulate situations. And I don't know if that's the right terminology to use, but
it is what
he
it
knows
is.
how to maneuver situations in such a way where he gets what he wants, or he gets to do or participate in whatever he wants. If that makes sense.
Yeah, like I told him, I was like, man, if you do that again, you're not going to be able to go over that person's house anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, which I don't really, and I think he was so relieved that he wasn't in trouble and getting like a spanking or anything, that he was just like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, there'll be another time. I'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll get over this. Like, he's very much like that kid who's like, yeah, this is fine, but are you mad at me right now? No? Cool. You know? Because even, I think the other day, I don't know if you heard, he was like, we're going to go over such and such house. Are you going to kiss her? Talking to Raya. And I was like,
did you say something?
Yeah. I was like, what did I tell you about that, Theo? So it's like,
he's probably now wanting Raya Bo to do it so that Raya Bo can get in trouble. Like, sometimes when he gets in trouble for something, he'll try to transfer that behavior to his brother.
Yeah.
So that his brother then gets in trouble for it. But fortunately, Raya Bo has a little bit more of a, well, if it's something he wants to do, then that's
I don't think Raya Bo is that kid, but he can very well be contaminated. I think him and like his best friend are very innocent and very like fun based, and Theo's kind of like, yeah, but you know what? This is cool too. And so I guess, you know, the conversation I've been having in one of the videos I'm putting up next, which you've probably already seen, is about consent and like young boys learning consent at an early age. Not so, I mean, you know, for themselves, of course, you know what I mean? But really for like their sisters, their friends, their female you know what I'm saying? Like, they can't just walk up to you and touch your breast, you know? Even though they used to eat from it, you know what I'm saying, at one point, and they see Anaya eating from it, they still think that's kind of like their property, you know, and like it's a community thing. But it's not. And so we have to start, like, that's why.
A whole family affair.
Yeah, for real, because I'm not missing mine. I'm not missing mine.
All right,
but like, I'm just saying, like, as far as the aspect of like them knowing boundaries and what they can and cannot do because of who they are, as young boys. And this is something my mom tried to teach me and instill into me, and I didn't really listen to my mom, because of lack of respect, I think. But I was very like, yeah, well, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do what the homies are doing. I'm gonna do what they're doing because they're winning out here and you're not, And I think that's why boys need fathers to teach them these things and what they're responsible for, being a boy, being a man, becoming a man, and just knowing that every woman needs her space, and just because that's your sister or your mom or your friend, you still can't violate them and force them to give you a hug, force them to give you affection, all those things. I think it's important that they know that now, and they not that they know and learn it once, but it just becomes something that they continue to learn and know forever. Like this may be a yearly conversation I have to have, or a monthly conversation where I'm just like, hey, make sure you're not violating any women and treating them in a way that's going to make them feel unsafe, because when they stand over Anaya and, they're a foot taller than her, and, their belly button is in her face, and they're like, give me a hug, hug Anaya, hug, and they get mad when she doesn't, like those are symptoms that we have, as people, where we don't feel like we're getting affection. But they need to understand early that just because they want something, that doesn't mean they deserve it.
Yeah, like we don't owe you affection.
Right.
Let's back up though. Like why do we feel like it's important for our kids to see us be affectionate with one another?
I think that, and for me, I don't really have a starting point for this. Like my family, like I didn't grow up with my mom and dad in the home hugging and kissing. My dad and my stepmother, like later on in life, when I noticed they were very affectionate. But I didn't really pay attention because it wasn't my mom, I think it's important because love is in action, and I work as a form of love. You work as a form of love. You cook as a form of love. I cook as a form of love. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things are forms of love that they need to survive, and I think that affection is something that they need to see what like a healthy, loving relationship looks like. And I think that is an outward expression of what is happening inside of us, What do you think?
I think it's important for them to see how you like hold me, touch me, treat me, because you do it in a very respectful, loving way. And I think it's important for that to be modeled for them. Like, yeah. I think it's important for there to be a healthy demonstration of what the outward showing of love looks like, which I think is important for them to see. I didn't necessarily grow up seeing my mom and dad like hug and kiss and stuff. I'm sure they hugged and kissed, but I don't think it was like an extreme amount of hugging or kisses. It's not something that I like explicitly remember. My dad was always very protective of my mom. Like if we spoke to her with the wrong tone, we knew we were in trouble type deal. So we knew that he loved her and I knew that she loved him just by the acts of service that they did for each other. But I never actually physically saw that. I can't say never. I didn't see it as often as I'd like our kids to see it, if that makes sense.
What do you think is appropriate for our kids to see? You think hugging, you think if I grabbed your butt,
that's too much.
It's too much?
I don't know. I think so.
Because you grab my butt all the time.
I do.
Yeah.
Do I do it in front of him?
You violate all of us.
Do I?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I just love your butt.
I know.
And their butts are so cute too. They're like just so small.
Yeah.
I know.
It's not a good look. It's not good. And I'm very much like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah, Glenn always gets on me every time I do it. He's like, "What are you doing? You can't do that."
Yeah, you can't do that because it's only a matter of time before they start imitating it.
I know. Is it too much?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to full on make out with you in front of our kids. And I definitely don't want to have sex with you in front of our kids. I mean,
Yeah.
past a certain age.
Yeah. Because Anaya won't leave.
Yeah.
Get out of the room.
But, sorry, Anaya.
Yeah.
Hopefully she doesn't ever hear this.
Yeah. She'll be scarred for life. Touching the butt, no, but hugging and kissing, yes.
Okay, so up to a certain age, because like I grew up with some people whose parents would be like, "Hey, I'm putting this sock on the door means we're getting it in, so please leave us alone," type thing. And those kids didn't seem scarred, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a rough situation. I think. What age do you start the sock thing? Is that like 7?
Middle
7,
school.
I think 7 is cool.
What? 7 years old is like first grade.
You want to be sneaking around until we're how old? Theo's in middle school. How old will we be?
How old is Theo in middle
He's
school?
5. He'll be 7 is
12?
middle school.
7 is not.
I'm sorry,
middle
7th grade.
school.
7th grade. I'm not trying to be sneaking around for another 7 years. That's 7 years from now. Theo, the socks on the door. Gather your young siblings and turn on Monsters Inc. really loud.
I don't know. This is hard.
Monsters Inc. because they're screaming.
They scream.
So to like muffle it all out.
Babe, I'm not a screamer. You're not a screamer.
Babe,
Okay. Anyway,
you're a screamer.
babe.
Let's continue. Go.
Edit that out, Ray.
Poor Ray. Poor Ray.
Seriously.
This is the first one, so we're not editing anything out. That's
No,
the
no,
perk
no,
for
no,
perk.
no, 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 no,
Patreon
no.
perk.
Okay, they may not get it edited, but whoever listens to this has to edit it.
This is all types of file.
I'm telling Ray to edit. I'll go sit down with Ray. Ray's gonna have to sit down with me, and we gotta go through this. Okay.
You're gonna sit down with him and listen to this? No, you will not. Go ahead.
What was I saying? Okay, so let's really, I don't know. Maybe we don't need to talk about that anymore, but I am really curious, like, how much is too much? Because is me touching your butt really that bad?
Anything we do, they're gonna try to mimic. They're gonna try to mimic what we do, not why we do it.
Okay, I don't know if this has anything to do with like this topic, but like Theo has this thing right now where he likes to pull down his pants and show his butt.
Yeah.
Is that unrelated?
Yeah, I mean, I just
Is that
think
just
he's,
a childish, like,
I don't know. I
silly-
can't really tell with Theo because
I
he's so smart.
I know.
I be looking at him like, are you outsmarting me? Or are you innocent?
No, he's totally outsmarting it. Well,
Some things he's completely oblivious, but Theo is really like, I don't think you guys understand. Like, you guys kind of see a glimpse of it through the videos, but when you sit down and you watch the behavior and you study this child, he is something different.
he's a genius.
He needs to be studied. He needs to be
Yes.
like watched 100% of the time. Like, I don't
Yes.
trust him alone with anybody because I just feel like manipulation's in effect, and
Yeah.
not in like a bad way, like he's evil, but he's just like, yo, I'm gonna get my way.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah, I don't think it's malicious at all, but he's definitely, yeah, he's just, I could give you all kinds of examples,
Yeah.
but that's another episode.
Yeah, for sure. So, I just feel like we have to be careful, with what Theo sees.
And do you think it's something that like flipped when he turned 5? I know he's always been
He's
like,
been weird since he's been weird since a while ago. I remember when he used to watch Supergirl,
oh
and
yeah,
he'd be like kissing the door and be like, "Hey, Supergirl."
oh
And he
yeah.
used to kiss the door, and you would be sitting there like, what in the heck is going on, man?
Supergirl was probably too much for him to watch.
Yeah.
That show.
And we were just like, oh, cool, Supergirl, cool, no problem. Turn it on.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know.
We did know.
I didn't, because I didn't really watch Supergirl like that. That was your show.
Yeah, we would watch that. There wasn't a lot of like that type of stuff going on, but there was definitely. The second
season got weird.
Yeah, the second season we stopped watching it. But yeah, there was just an element of, ooh, I like you, and whatever.
Yeah. Protecting our kids sexually is important.
And then like, never mind. Okay. I gotta stay on top. I don't know if I'm staying on topic or not. Will you tell me if I'm doing a good or bad job?
I think this is free. I think what we need is the live aspect.
Oh.
Because the live aspect can give people an opportunity to listen and ask questions and say stuff along. And then we can kind of tailor it back.
Oh, and it would be on this screen?
Yeah, it could be on this screen. Or the new screen I get. You are so gross.
I'm sorry. Edit that out. How married are you?
For real. We too married. I think there has to be some type of like, we need to figure this out, because I think Theo, he just needs a lot of one-on-one time to ask questions and be free.
And we have, with him, it especially has to be in a way that like he doesn't feel like he's getting in trouble. Because my fear is that we are going to shame him or put shame on certain behaviors to the point where he's going to try to hide it from us.
Yeah.
And that makes me nervous.
Yeah, that's not what we want at all.
Like you've said that before. Like if he's going to do stuff, you just want him to feel like he's comfortable enough to just do it in front of us.
Yeah, like he needs a safe space to, you know, explore his body. And that is definitely his home, not anybody else's house. Just imagine if he explores at someone else's house and then someone else has to deal with it.
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here is his safe haven. And so, but my thing is, I'm very like, I need your help in this, because I'm very much reactive when it comes to men mistreating women, because I've mistreated women. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So when I see it in him, just a seed, even at 5, I feel like, yo, you cannot do that. You have to stop it now, because you could become what I became, and it's gonna be horrible. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely need some counseling there. I need some counsel.
I need some counsel too.
Well, we need to talk to somebody.
We do.
We both don't need to be his parents.
Why are we talking to each other?
Yeah, we need to be talking to somebody else. Okay, so this is... Okay.
Oh, wait, go ahead.
This is your opportunity right now, if you're listening, to give us some resources.
Yes.
If you have any resources.
Yes.
We are not going to do a good job if we don't have support in this area. And as parents, like, I think people think we have it all together, and we are really just figuring it out.
Stumbling through.
Yeah, stumbling through, and most of it is like, I shouldn't have did that. It's always a rebuttal, something we think about in retrospect. And so, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say something that really encouraged me this last semester of mom's group. Is she said, just because something's true doesn't mean it's the truth about the person or about whatever.
Yeah. And
that's something for me as a mom that really like helps me, because like, I don't want to say, I feel like I gotta filter myself, but I don't want to say Theo's a perv.
Oh my, no, yeah, right. I'm sorry. I don't want to shame you. Go ahead. My goodness.
Too late.
No, he's not a perv.
Not a perv or creep or whatever, but like, he's just learning.
He's just curious.
And
so the first
like
born,
he's a freak. Edit this.
So you were saying that you don't want to see,
like, you don't want
to seem like you're like Theo has malicious intentions with his sexuality.
Yes.
Because he doesn't.
Yes.
But some people would label that as perverted behavior.
Yes.
Or like freaky type situations.
Thank you. Glen is so much better at like really vocal. He really understands me.
Yeah, yeah.
beyond my own understanding. Like I know what's going on in my head, and I can just say something out, and he will take it and make it
Sometimes,
sound
because sometimes I don't know what the heck you're talking about, and we need to go sit on someone's couch.
true.
Real talk.
Facts. Okay.
But anyway, you don't want to make what's happening in his temporary curiosity
Yes.
seem like
It's
this is
gonna
who
be
he
who
is
he
as a
is.
person, and you
Yes.
put it on his ID.
Yes.
And so all these things that we once were, we have to remember like who we are as a person. We are a process. You know what I'm saying? And so our identity is no one thing that we ever were. Like, just calling us a boy or a girl or black, like doesn't really solidify who we are as an entity. As I've grown and I've matured, I've become something totally different than I started out as. And I think that the same is for Theo. So Theo is really trying to he's just curious and asking questions and testing boundaries, and that's very normal for a firstborn.
I feel so sorry for him
Why?
because he's the first one, and we have no clue what to do.
Yeah,
Like he's gonna be the first kid that we encounter all these types of things with.
yeah. But you know what? Theo is the right kid for it because he's
Raya Bo
very.
would definitely not.
Uriah be like, well, what are y'all mad about?
You are so right. Theo is a good kid.
Theo is the right kid for it because he's understanding and he's very.
I'm about to cry. I'm so emotional.
Yeah. So he's understanding and
I'm so emotional, babe. Guys, I swear I'm pregnant.
you're not. Please don't be pregnant.
I want to be.
I think we reached our mark. So I think Theo is the appropriate age of a person. I mean, the appropriate kid to be the first one. But firstborns, like I was, are very testy. They're curious. They're often liars. They are, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Is this like factual, or are you just saying this?
I'm thinking about everybody know who's the firstborn.
Glen be saying stuff.
Everybody know who's firstborn is lying. They some liars. They mischievous. I don't trust them, and I don't trust myself. Think about it.
I am thinking about
Thinking about the firstborn kid, not the only child. The only child is different.
Oh gosh, we know that.
But the only child is totally different, right? Usually, mom is boys and stuff like that, right?
He's thinking about men.
Men, I'm thinking about men for sure. I'm thinking about firstborns who are male because I can't think about firstborns who are females. I don't know that many, but mostly like they're always the ones that is like, oh, we can't do that, and the parents like, nah, you can't do that, and the secondborn like, we can't do that. So they make a conscious decision to do it. You know what I'm saying? Or they get manipulated by the firstborn to do it. So he's gonna have a rough time, I think. But we need to handle him with a lot of grace and love and celebration. Like there needs to be a lot of celebration for that kid. It's just such an awkward thing, but an honor. You know what I'm saying? Like a great opportunity for us. I feel like we're gonna be good parents in this situation because we care enough to even talk about it. But I'm definitely still like, man, I don't want to deal with this.
And I don't.
Yeah, I know you don't.
The sad thing about my situation growing up is that sex has always been something that's that I don't know if I've placed shame on. Like sex has always been that awkward, or sexuality, anything dealing with the spectrum or the whatever, has always been something that I've been like, oh, gross.
Don't
you know
talk
what I mean?
about it.
Yeah,
don't think about it.
What?
Don't hear about it. Don't look at it. Don't do this. Don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just thinking about like drill sergeant. Like I'm thinking about like what type of things would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that is something that we are working to fully overcome in our marriage. And so to be even dealing with this on some small component with my firstborn 5-year-old child is very uncomfortable for me. Oh, that's what I was going to bring up. Like, for me, this is also a topic at our mom's group. You probably hear me referring to mom's group a lot in parenting, but this was also a topic of discussion was I kind of brought up the fact that I'm like, well, he's the father, so shouldn't he have to deal with like the boys and their sexuality or whatever? And the answer that was given back to me was pretty much no. Like they need to have both perspectives.
Yeah.
It's just as important for them to hear from the mother as it is for them to hear from the father. And so a lot of times when these types of things come up, I'm like, that's all you.
Yeah.
But I do have to come to a point where I'm more comfortable addressing these types of issues. But I feel very ill-equipped in doing that.
What are you going to do to equip yourself?
I don't know. I feel like I need to read more and figure out a lot of stuff. I definitely need to figure out the anatomy of a man because, like, I remember when I was just changing the boys' diapers and I'd open up the diaper and a thing would be sticking up at me. I'd be like, what the hell?
He's got an erection. Why does he got an erection? Am I doing something wrong? Nah, babe, he just got an erection. That's it.
And I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand. And then sometimes, when you're bathing them or whatever and stuff happens, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
This isn't supposed to happen. I'm your mother.
Yeah, babe, it's not like that.
And it's not like that. But I only associate that with sex.
Yeah. It's not like that.
I know. So.
And I feel like I could try to help you, but I don't feel like you want to learn from me at all in that way.
Why do you feel like that?
Because you don't like talking about it.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm talking about it.
You are.
I've been better.
You have been better, for sure.
Gosh. I need some credit, y'all.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to the first...
Are we done?
Yes, Yvette.
Okay, so listen, let me just say this. I don't know if we offered any answers. Not that we have answers. So I feel like the podcast should end on like a positive note.
All right, we'll keep that in consideration for next time.
Well, we don't have a positive note for this time?
Well, you go ahead and be positive, Miss Positive. You know I ain't got nothing nice to say. I had a rough day.
You had a rough day today?
Yes, I had a rough day. Talking to the lawyers.
Oh, yeah, you were talking. Okay. Go ahead and close this out, babe. I don't have any positive. But I just want y'all to know that I really do want to have something positive to say. And I feel bad about leaving you with all of our confusion.
Thank you so much for listening to the first podcast. How married are you? I would love to know your thoughts and, what you think about this whole thing. Should we continue to do something like this? Should we be a little bit more topical? We actually love this. I enjoyed this. Did you enjoy this, babe?
I had fun. I like talking to you.
Yeah, I like it. And so I think that what we want to do next time is add a live aspect so that you can watch along and comment along as well. We're going to put this up on Anchor. It's going to be on Apple Podcasts, and so you can leave a comment and review there, but this is something that we want to do weekly, so please give us your input, and thank you so much for rocking with us. We need a tagline for the end.
Protect your life and keep your network popping.
It can't be that one.
Keep your network popping and protect your life. No? Why
don't you come up with your own? This is supposed to be your thing.
The name of the podcast is what?
How married are you?
How married are you? We that married, y'all.
You always sound like a country bumpkin. You take it all the way back to South Carolina. You lived there for
I lived there for a whole academic year.
What was that line? This how married we are, y'all. What was it?
This is how married we are, y'all. That's just how married we are. Do you want me to say it in California?
That's just how married we are.
And that's just how married we are.
I guess. Okay.
Is that the tagline?
I don't know.
We'll work on it.
We need a tagline, y'all. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Holla.
It took you forever to figure that out.